trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
This is the Mind is Mine podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, what it do? It's your boy Houston, episode 14 with my boy Leek Hunchoo over here. We got a special, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special episode because this is episode 1 of our Truly Gifted experience here over at Mine is Mine. So essentially what Truly Gifted is, let's explain together. So what's Truly Gifted to you, sir, before we introduce you as an individual?
Okay, so Truly Gifted is a collaborative group of visual artists, dancing artists, performing artists, musical artists, engineers, producers, and more, and entrepreneurs as well. We are a collaborative group, mainly focused on music, but we also have merchandise that will be available soon for purchase. We have plenty of collaborative songs and projects that we are working on at this very moment. We have a single that's out right now called Power Position. You can stream that on Apple Music everywhere.
Facts.
And we are a group that is mainly trying to stay positive and change the narrative on what art really is, because art doesn't necessarily have to be considered negative. It can be expression while being positive at the same time.
Couldn't have said it better than myself, honestly. We're part of a collective that honestly we're learning and teaching each other as we grow. So essentially we're all simultaneously in the teacher and student role as we learn to navigate through our own creative expressions, whether that be mostly music, but we're diving deeper into films, we're diving deeper into cartoons, voice acting, so on and so forth. So honestly, music is the beginning because that's something that brought us together initially, but from there, honestly, we're going to tackle a lot of different creative expressions and learn from each other and help each other grow. So I'm excited. But you, Leek Hunchoo, you are an individual person outside of Truly Gifted. So please share what you got to say about you personally.
Okay, so my name is Leek Hunchoo on the beat. I'm the producer. People call me Leek Hunchoo, but other people know me as just Malik. I am a music producer, and to be artist, I've always been an artist my entire life, from childhood to adulthood. I've always been interested in art, from music to visual art to dancing and poetry and even more. So I've always been a creative, and things happen to, go through my life that I was supposed to experience, and the unexpected things happen, and due to those unforeseen circumstances, I decided to take matters into my own life, and I decided to turn into Malik and change that into Leek Hunchoo, because I decided that instead of following suit with most of my peers at that time, I decided that I was going to be a leader of my own. And so I set my own path, and I don't like to really follow trends. It's not really my thing. So I really embrace myself on being a one-of-a-kind, unique individual. I really live by a motto saying, why would you want to fit in when you were born to stand out? And I really live by that. So I believe that it is very important to be yourself and, learn about yourself and learn what makes you unique, because there's only one of you and there's nobody else that could possibly be you, experiences and all.
That's facts. So I've only known Leek for about a year, maybe a little more.
About a year.
It's so dope to see his growth after a year, and also get in touch with him and, establish a relationship and a brotherhood with him, along with everybody else that's part of Truly Gifted, which coming soon will one by one tackle the rest of the members. But Leek, how's it feel to be the first one to be introduced?
It feels
How does that
pretty
feel?
good. I'm not gonna lie to you. It obviously feels pretty good. It's been quite a day, considering I went to work earlier today and some interesting things happened. So I'm thinking it's gonna be a pretty good podcast with topics and such. So
Oh, for sure.
I can't wait.
For sure. You're one of the people that is actually teaching me music, because I've always expressed that I wanted to be a producer. So what was that journey like, becoming a producer and just falling in love with music? Honestly, let's start there.
Well, it's basic sound. Certain sounds trigger certain feelings and emotions and certain reactions to things. So it's basic sound that I fell in love with. It would be basic sounds that I would hear in TV shows, basic sounds that I would hear in music, basic sounds that I would hear in real life. And some of those sounds really intrigued me, and sometimes they would catch my ear. I'd be like, what was that? Can you do that again? And some of these sounds were funny. Some of these sounds made me sad. And as I became my own individual person and discovering music, I started to realize how melodies and compositions can create a wave of emotion that a person can feel no matter what. They are like certain chords, when put together, can create an emotion that will make you sad. Like, it's been songs that I've listened to that legit, made me cry, and it's like, why is this song making me cry? It's because
I feel like there's quite a few on that album that you picked today.
Oh yeah, it's two of these songs on here that made me cry, and it's
You, for sure. You is definitely gut wrenching for sure. So honestly, we usually wait till later on in the podcast to digest and go deeper into the albums that we pick. But honestly, we find ourselves in the album. So you are a huge Kendrick fan, as am I. So what was the intention of picking To Pimp a Butterfly?
Because To Pimp a Butterfly is, to me, honestly, top 2 albums from Kendrick. I have to be completely, this is top 2. A lot of emotions and opinions were expressed, and a different perspective was shown from what we got on Good Cat, Mad City. We were getting a story of how this young man was raised, and things happened to occur on this one day in a span throughout this entire album. This is more of a, I'm being a little bit more self-conscious about who I am and what's going on around me at this certain time. This is 2015. This is around, election time. This is around the time.
Yeah, this was
Donald Trump, 2016.
Yeah, it was gearing up towards that, but we had the Mike Brown incident as well, which kind of went deeper into this. This was also a surprise drop. This dropped on a random Sunday out of nowhere. It's crazy how Kendrick gives us one of the best albums of all time on a random Sunday.
The crazy thing is, I didn't even hear it till Sunday. I heard it on a Monday. The next morning, that Sunday, I was busy with my family. But that Monday, I used to catch the Metro bus to school all the time. So I got on the Metro bus and I play the album, and I hear the first song, and I'm just like, this is not To Pimp a Butterfly. This is not Good Kid, Mad City. This is something completely different.
Yeah, Wesley's Theory is such a great intro, bro. It's fire.
An amazing intro, because it's like you're hearing, the record going and it's looping. And it's like, okay.
And then
what
the sample, the sample.
They're saying something, and then as you hear the sample clear, it's like, what is about to happen?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And to a testament to what you were saying, when bringing different sounds together, this doesn't really sound like your typical hip hop album, your hip hop record, because it's fused with a lot of funk. It's fused with a lot of jazz elements. You got Thundercat on there. You got a lot of George Clinton on there.
A lot of funk. You have a lot of different sounds that now have starting to become more and more popular within mainstream music, such as like Silk Sonic, for example. Funk has
Great
really,
album.
Came back up since this album came out. 2016, we ended up getting, more music from Thundercat. Thundercat's getting more exposure. Mm-hmm. We have Anderson .Paak, and then you have
Steve Lacy too.
Yeah,
Steve Lacy.
Bruno Mars went from being your average pop singer to a funk and, you know, groove type of person with his style of music with Cardi B and himself. Like,
you got classic and George Clinton too, who
George Clinton
was dominating in the 70s and the 80s in terms of funk. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like you don't find sound like this that often, like generated in a manner that is telling you a story. Not only is it, you know, it's making you bob your head, but it's making you listen.
Yeah, casual listeners are not the biggest fan of that album because of the elements of not only storytelling and how conceptual and conscious it is and how many issues it tackles in its lyrics, but also it's just an unconventional sound towards casual listeners, especially during that time, because in 2015, we're getting the rise of trap music. You know, trap music has been around, but now it's starting to reach like a really such a prominent state in the world. You dropped something, by the way. We're getting into this world of where things are becoming more trap centric. Yeah. The SoundCloud era is starting to emerge as well. You know, you got your Lil Uzi Verts, you got your Playboy Cardis, you got your who else? XXXTentacion, you got all those guys.
It was a big shift in music
Yeah.
during this time. Everything was starting to change, and people were like, "What is he going to give us? We got this."
Oh yeah,
And the single? I think the first single to come out was "Blacker the Berry," I believe.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I heard "Blacker." Was it? No,
It was I, and then it was Blacker the Berry, because everybody was like, how you go from this really happy go lovey song and just like bring a smile to your day,
right.
and then Blacker the Berry is just like, dang, that kind of just like, not saying it killed my mood, but it's just like it's a way darker tone.
Yeah, and then
Way darker tone.
this is like the beginning of the self-reflection era of Kendrick, because a lot of these records on this album are very much like, this is my perspective, this is what's going on with me, this is how I feel about this certain situation. And it gets very deep. It gets very deep to a point where he starts to ask the listeners like, hey, you know, I have a bunch of this stuff going on in my life, and because of that, you know, my future may be problematic. When things become problematic, are you going to look at me as this problematic guy? Or are you going to look at me as myself who just had a situation occur?
Yeah, I saw somebody on social media kind of compare all of his albums, and he started with Section 80, how it was Kendrick versus his generation, and also his generation and the... Dang, I lost the word. I don't know how I lost the word, but pretty much him versus his generation and the stereotypes that comes with that generation, because he grew up in the crack era. And when it comes to the Good Kid, Mad City, it was him versus City. And then when it came to this album, To Pimp a Butterfly, it was him versus society and the status quo. And then Damn was him versus God, and obviously Mr. Morale is him versus him.
Of course.
So it's dope to see that journey, and that reflects every single album so perfectly. It narrows it down so perfectly, and how it all led back to, you know, him versus him. And I feel like that's a good segue to my album, because not this album specifically. Tyler just dropped Chromacopia. He needs to pay me for promotion, but but shout out to Chromacopia. That is a fire album. I think it's
amazing. Album. I just listened to it again today. And
yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I had to really break down a lot of these songs, because, you know, first time listens on some songs was like, maybe I have to listen to it again, but it was a few songs that were like, first listen, amazing.
Yeah, the first listen from me was so like out of the blue, because when he dropped Paranoid, I kind of got the vibe of what type of album, what kind of concept he was going for. I was like, oh, okay, he's trying to like wake people up. As soon as I saw him with the mask, I was like, okay, I know what type of time he's on. I just didn't know how he was going to go about that, because none of his music has been that deeply it's like self-reflected. Like, he definitely does have records that are self-reflection, but coming off Call Me If You Get Lost, which was more of an album of him having something.
Stunned.
Yeah. He's stunned. He's flexing. He's like, yo, I'm in these places. I got this much money. I'm doing all this. But also, it was like, you remember how DJ Khaled and everybody was kind of writing him out after he made Igor. They were like, this is not the type of music that you should be listening to in the club. Like, nobody wants to listen to this type of music. And Igor ended up taking home a Grammy. And I think Igor, to this day, is still his best piece of work. And obviously, Chromacopia just came out, and I feel like that's going to be a competitor for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that is definitely a competitor. It's a lot of very deep songs on there. This is a him versus...
Yeah, him versus him, and like going against
him
society.
Versus society as well. Like, I'm hearing that a lot within, the tone changes between songs, because it starts off with this Saint Chroma, which kind of threw me off because I was expecting more of a bigger collaborative group effort on this album. But, now that I go back and listen to it, it was a lot of great features on this album. You had Tizo Touchdown, you had
Daniel Caesar.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar.
You had how you pronounce her name? She's
Doechii.
Yeah, she in my opinion had the best feature. She had
a great feature.
She killed it on Balloon.
Me, I'm not gonna lie, it's Tizo on The Darling Eye. That singing solo is...
Yeah, he was amazing. On Run It Up. He was on Run It Up on here. And he killed it.
Yeah, Tizo Touchdown. He got it.
Yeah.
He got it. Or Take Your Mask Off is standalone the best song on there. And I don't know if it's like how many features are on that song, but
I don't think there's any features on there.
Regardless of it is or if it's not, that song is very well put together and very well constructed, from talking about perspectives of, the new youth, from the new women to mothers to, preachers, to himself, and really like going at himself. And it kind of threw me up, because I'm like, is he talking about somebody else or is he talking about himself? That's very deep, because a lot, but it's something that seems familiar at the same time as you're, destroying this person's character and breaking it down. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, that's your character. Yeah. Oh, that's self-reflection. You can't talk about nobody else without talking about yourself.
I feel like it caught a lot of people off guard, because especially coming off an album like that where he's flexing, but he had a lot to prove with this album, because like I was saying, a lot of people were bashing Igor because it wasn't your traditional rap album. And I don't even qualify it as a rap album. I think it's way bigger than a rap album in terms of Igor. But this is where like he came out. He was like, you know what? I'm a rap. I'm gonna show y'all that I can rap and I can hold my own against some of the best people that are out today. And he definitely showed that with this album. So shifting from an album like this to Chromacopia, I mean, I feel like the one song that ties this album and Chromacopia together is probably Sorry Not Sorry. In that video where he's killing like different past versions of them.
He's killing his past versions of himself.
You gotta go back and watch that. The guy who's like escorting them in the beginning? Yes. Wearing the same fit as Saint Chroma. Yeah. So he was foreshadowing the entire time. I watched that today. I was like, that's crazy.
That's deep. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm going to have to look at that, because wow.
Yeah, insane. Same fit and all that, because he has like a little chain or decor right here on his arm, and he's just letting people in, but you don't see the face at all. So
you don't.
Just a little tease. But
wow.
Yeah, insane.
I didn't really notice that, but the way that this album was constructed it was very well put together, and to drop it on a Monday. Oh,
you see it?
Yes, I do. I do
it's
see
crazy.
the suit right there.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
So yeah, let's going back on your journey, and after discussing these albums, I can tell that you're a guy that wants to make music with meaning, with an intention, and make it a lot more than just the music itself. So like growing into your musical talents and what you foresee musically for yourself as a producer, and even if you hop on the track to rap, or you never know, Leek Hunchoo might get on a song the scene.
I don't really think I got the voice for that, to be completely honest. If I do, I'm gonna have to like pitch my voice to be like deeper or something. Cause
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like with his voice, Tyler, his voice alone, he's not the best singer, but when he does the altercations with his voice and alters it and puts the auto-tune with it and makes his voice a little higher, it sounds great.
It does.
It sounds really good.
Like when I heard Best Interest, and I heard that was supposed to be on Igor, and it definitely...
It wouldn't have fit, I feel like.
You don't feel like it would have fit? I feel like it had...
Nah.
I feel like it had room to fit because, you know...
It could have been like...
Outro.
If you would, yeah.
Close to the outro.
No, Are We Still Friends is a great outro.
Yeah, Are We Still Friends is a great outro.
It's a great outro.
It loops the
sample is insane.
Perfectly.
The sample is insane.
Yeah, that song, like that album is amazing. I got put on by an ex-girlfriend to that album, and she like kind of forced me to go to the concert. I'm like, okay, I'll go to the concert. It's Tyler, the Creator. You know, he's probably gonna do some silly stuff. You know, he might do some goofy stuff. And then,
you went to a Tyler concert?
Oh yeah, I went to go see Igor when it came to Chaffetz. Oh yeah, so
he's not coming to St. Louis though. That's
he's
upsetting.
not. So I'm sadly gonna have to make a road trip, but you know, hey, why not?
We should do a truly gifted road trip to see him perform though, because real shit, he is one of the best performers out, for sure.
Very much,
for sure,
very much.
I think he proved that in this past year's Coachella. Was it Coachella?
The past years, I'm not gonna lie, seeing him perform New Magic Wine live is like
that's his favorite song too,
and it's mine too, because it's my favorite song to see him perform, because the energy that he comes with out the gate, it's like before the beat even drops, it's like it's like, oh yeah, he's getting you hyped and turned up before anything even happens, and when it does happen, you're not going to be ready for it.
Yeah, that's how you know, like, he's become a musical genius. He has become a savant. Yeah, and it's so dope because his journey especially is just like, I never cared for Bastard. I never go back to Goblin unless if it's She, occasionally Yonkers if I'm in the gym or something like that. I don't really go back to Goblin. Wolf sometimes. I listened to Wolf the other day. Cherry Bomb, no. Cherry Bomb was a weird era. And then what he's done with Flower Boy, Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost, and now Chromacopia, I'm like, bro, that's an insane 4-album run the more you think about it. Yeah. Like his discography went from like, what is this, to experimental, to wow, okay, yeah. This guy is like very talented, to now like we consider him a savant.
He's creating, like, he's on a run. If he's on that album run, and no one can take that away from him. Like the last 4 albums from him have been amazing. Like you have Chromacopia, which is amazing, and it just came out. Call Me Via Lost is pretty well constructed. Igor is amazing, and Flower Boy is amazing. Like these 4 albums in a row, they're just getting better and better with sound and production and quality, to a point where it's like, when I hear certain songs now, it's like Tyler had to produce that, because it's like his production is very abstract and creative, but at the same time has a certain type of tone and energy about it. You can just be like, yeah, Tyler made that beat.
Yeah, the way he talks about music too, you can just see and hear how passionate he is, especially when, as goofy as those interviews are, the Narwhal episodes that he's on, and just him talking about, first of all, he be trying
this guy
he be trying to riz Narwhal, and it's so funny.
It's so funny.
Narwhal just does not care.
He's like, I'm
just here for the interview.
I'm here for interview. Do Do.
But nah, just the way that he talks about music is so like inspiring in itself, because you can tell he has a genuine love for this. And this is the first time I've been able to really go deeper in terms of like music, because not everybody else that I've brought on is like really in tune with like those musical elements and I'll find the best way, like artistry, like see the musical artistry behind things. So it's a blessing to have you on and actually have this conversation. The first 25 minutes, we just talked about these two albums, which is a record, ladies and gentlemen. It's a record, ladies and gentlemen.
Breaking records.
Yeah, we're breaking records already. So, but back to your path. Let's get back to your story real quick, because we can talk about these two artists all day, honestly.
Obviously, yeah.
Honestly. Like we haven't even talked about as much Kendrick as we could.
Yeah.
Because Kendrick
is Kendrick. So,
yeah.
But
hopefully he drops the album soon, man. I feel like it's coming. But
yeah,
we'll
and I have an idea what it's gonna be, but within myself, I plan on creating music that tells stories. You know, I create music that, you know, emotional music. You know, emotions. You know, I play a lot of piano as a kid, and I used to play drums as a kid. And one of the things that I loved while playing drums was obviously the samples and the hi-hats and snares. I was also on drumline. So with that, I'm a big percussion fan. So
that's why you and John be going at it all the time, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm a big percussion guy, because I mean I grew up playing snare drums, so it's like you get no more competitive than playing snare. To be playing snare and to memorize cadences and different, you know, and to memorize traditional grip versus, you know, what I was used to, regular grip on a drum set, you know, to traditional grip on your snare drum, to memorizing cadences, to memorizing different, you know, patterns that needed to be played in music. It's a very, you know, warranting skill. Like, it's a very wanting skill to be able to play that. And I still practice sometimes at home just to make sure I don't get rusty, because sometimes, you know, even doing that gives me ideas. But, you know, I got into piano at a young age, and as I was learning piano, I discovered that it would be certain sounds and chords put together that would, you know, whenever I heard them, it was like my heart dropped. It was like, whoa, that just made me feel a certain type of way. And so over the years, I listened to music, and the music that I listen to, some of it makes me emotional, because I listen to all types of music. I grew up listening to classical and pop. And on my own, I listen to hip hop. I listen to a lot of EDM, which is,
I hear you,
very surprising. But yeah, I do a lot of, you know, good things with my music to try to make it an experience. It's not just you're not just listening to music; you're getting an experience while listening to music.
As you should. At least you should.
You're gaining a personal connection within the chords or the keys that's being played, even if it's no words.
That's true. I love, growing up, I've always loved instrumentals. I'm not saying I don't like songs with the vocals, which I do, but I've always been, in the back of my head, I've always wanted to produce music, just never really had the confidence to start until I came around you guys and Story Stitchers, and now what we're doing with Truly Gifted. You know, they all have definitely lit that fire in my ass.
And we're glad to be able to do that, honestly, because that's all we ever really want to do is, you know, if it's people that are hesitant or they feel a certain type of way about something, we want them to be comfortable and come to us like, hey, I want to learn this skill and I want to be able to pursue it the right way. Can you teach me? You know, or what do I need to do? And you know, what most producers say is you just do it. Mm-hmm. You know, figure it out, because I figured most of how I produce beats now on my own. I started to notice that as I was making music, you know, and I met a lot of people who wanted to collab, I worked a certain type of way on a same program versus most people. And I kind of find that funny. Me myself, I use Fruity Loops, so I take the patterns and I put all my instruments in patterns, and I change the patterns as they go. I add either more drums, less drums, a different chord progression, maybe a higher chord progression, just to create transitions between the songs. I try to do that, and I noticed that other producers kind of do it differently. They kind of get the sound, they put it on the track list, and then they make a pattern with the drums and no instruments, and it's just like, me myself, I wouldn't dare do it like that. I would have, try to place the instrument within the pattern so that whenever the next pattern is being shown on the track list, that you're going to get something different regardless of drums or sound. You're getting something different. That's just how I work. So I kind of noticed how I taught myself how to make music, and I made it a different way, and it works still. Like, it doesn't take away from anything because other people do it a certain type of way and I do it differently. It's still the same, and I'm able to properly compose my own music in a manner that you're not just listening to a song. You're going to get a beginning, you're getting a middle, you're getting an end. You're getting all of these factors within the song, and the songs are going to trigger emotions, whether anger, whether sadness, fun, whatever, inspiring. So I try to do my best to create an experience for all listeners to be able to say, even if it's an artist on a song, to be able to say, hey, even if the artist was whack, that beat, whoever did that production, they created something amazing. That's not just a beat, that's art. Mm-hmm. And so I pride myself on saying that I make art. I don't make just beats, because this is not just a bunch of drums on a simple pattern. No, I'm creating drum patterns from scratch of my own, and creating signature type of compositions of instruments in a certain type of manner to where I kind of create my own signature sound. And I sound similar to some producers, but I have my own sound, and you can hear that within the songs.
To have that certain outlook and approach to music or any type of art form is very much becoming a lost cause nowadays, because especially in music, because a lot of people are just picking up music to get a check, which is like, again, shout out to you, bro. I'm happy you getting this money. Shout out to you, but I don't have a desire to listen to any music if you're just gonna trying to make money off of it. If you're trying to just make money off of it, it's not gonna be the most artistic. If anything, it's just gonna be passive music. It's just gonna be something that you play the party or you play just to work out, but you're not really sitting down and digesting that music and trying to figure out the meaning, and also figuring out, okay, what's all a part of this this production here, what's all going into the production. That's why I love listening to instrumentals. I love hearing every ounce and every element and every instrument that took to make this production possible, and why this song sounds so good, and then put the vocals on top of it along with background vocals and ad-libs and everything. I love to see the making of it, especially with sampling. Like, sampling and chopping is my favorite thing of all time. It's my favorite.
When I first started making music, I wasn't really a big fan of the sampling, or rather, my best option for sampling was like maybe some loops, because it was a time where I created all my melodies from scratch, or I would watch things and get inspiration to create similar melodies, not the same melody, based off of emotion, how these things make me feel. I listen to certain music and it kind of is like, oh, that sounds like this, but it's not that, but it sounds like it, but it sounds similar. I get my inspiration from these types of things. So I try to, with my unforeseen circumstance, I lost a friend. And so
my bad to interrupt. Make sure you speaking directly.
So my friend died when I was 16 years old, and so it kind of lit a fire for me as far as music, because it became, me watching, my peers and older family members, my father and other people that I knew in my life at a young age, a couple of famous people too. But as I was watching these people do that, I was watching them like, that is a pretty cool hobby. I love music too. I want to be able to make my own music. And there was times where I experimented and created my own music, but I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was able to still properly express myself within the music, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when my friend died, it was like, I'm expressing myself, right here. The songs I'm about to make are expressing how I feel in my life. And a lot of my first few beats that I've ever made were a lot of sad melodic type of stuff, because I was going through a change of accepting. Yeah, I was basically accepting the fact that my friend was dead. So I was making a lot of sad melodies and kind of like aggressive drums. And then as I kind of grew out of that and time moved forward, a lot of changes happened. I went to go live with my father. I went down to Atlanta for a while.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, went down there for a while.
How many years? How long?
Not that long. I was down there for a minute. I was down there for a minute. But went down there, went to go live with my father, went to, learn different things. I was going through a lot of different changes in my life, and emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, I was starting to change. I was going through spiritual changes and kind of making an identity for myself. So it went from becoming this sad music to becoming this, we're on a journey of life. Let's just make these songs as life goes on. As life goes on, I feel like this on this day. Let's make a song about how we feel on this day. Let's make a song how we feel about this on this day. This situation happened to me. I'm going to make a song about that situation. I just met somebody that caught my eye. I'm making a song about how I met somebody who caught my eye. I'm basically doing experiences of music that, kind of...
I got you.
Yeah, basically doing experiences of music that...
So you're not just hunched over like that.
Yeah, so I'm making experiences of music that touch souls, that, everyday life. This situation happened to me. I made this song when this happened to me. It's been some traumatic experiences that have influenced me to create a lot of good songs, and a lot of my best songs are created from trauma, sadly. So it's just a matter of that, and sometimes going back on past trauma in my life. Sometimes I think about some of the things I went through as like a child and a teenager to where I am now. I used to be getting bullied and teased for who I was, and now I'm at a point where I'm getting respect from my peers because I am being myself and in my own lane and not trying to copy from others. So I just try to maintain authenticity with my music. However I feel, I basically compose that feeling. Mm-hmm. If I feel good, I make a song that make me feel good or make other people feel good at the same time. If I feel sad, I'm making a song that, is knowing that I'm sad, but I got hope. I'm making a lot of hopeful songs that don't necessarily make me sad, but make me feel like, I'm going through this rough time, but everybody goes through rough times. Usually I get over it. Mm-hmm. So, I have a lot of songs.
How can your music uplift people?
Yeah,
as well?
Basically, it's trying to uplift and also change their perspective and narrative that, music producers, they're just beat makers. We're not beat makers. We are creators. We take our time on this music. We really sit here, and sometimes we sit here for hours just to get one melody right before we even add in drums, trying to get one melody that perfect type of wavelength, because you always can, make something better and improve on something when you're making music, especially when you're listening. Music is always changing, so it's never a stagnant type of thing. Never.
I think the perfect artist to talk about that type of approach is Kanye West, because like he's gotten so much the perfection, searching for perfection to the point where he'll drop the album and then make the changes as it's
FaceTime video.
No. Sorry about that, y'all.
It's okay.
But where was I at? But yeah, no, Kanye, he updates his albums as they're on streaming services, as we saw with Vultures
It
too.
was like,
and I mean, The Life of Pablo too. The Life of Pablo was the same way. Donda was the same way.
Features taken off. It was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
A lot of leaks came out. I was like, this is a song, and then album, the song's different.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's so dope to watch that process in the studio and watch from some of the greats and watch you guys just get to work in the studio and take as much time as you need, even like you said, to get that one melody, get that one chord right, because that makes the difference. And you're trying to make the best experience for the listener here. Yeah. It's not just for, you're creating for yourself, but you're also creating for something bigger than yourself as well, because something's working through you.
Yeah. To put out a message.
Yeah.
I'm basically a messenger, and the best way I know is not with my voice, it's with my actions. And what better actions than creating music that does something instead of just making you bob your head. You know, this music makes you bob your head and makes you think like, this melody just changed.
Makes you feel a certain way. No, music is feeling. Music is a language, and if it's misinterpreted and used the wrong way, a lot of people are going to be using the language the wrong way, misinterpreting the language in the wrong way, and misinterpret this feeling that is supposed to be grand and supposed to be inspiring to the point where it's just passive.
Yeah, and sometimes we have to, sometimes you have to do fact checks on some things, because recently I got into a heated discussion online with a couple of people, because
you wanted to bring up
me myself, I'm a music producer, so with me being a music producer, I don't charge like small amounts of money for my music, because my music is not just internet YouTube beats that you can just find and just use. That's not my goal and purpose for that. My goal is to make music that, hopefully somebody can convey a message off of. I don't want just meaningless music.
If you were just making music to make money, then you would have had a lot more drops by now. If anything, you had your first official drop. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. First official drop, that was Monday?
Yes, first official drop is everywhere on all streaming platforms. It's called Stand for Something. And the song was made after I graduated high school. At that time, I had made a lot of decisions, and I was pondering upon them, like, am I going to regret making this decision? I'm going to regret making this decision. Around my senior year of high school, a lot of things were starting to change for me. I was, making money. I was working jobs, and it became to a point where it was like, what do I want to do? And it was like, I really want to pursue this music. And so it turned to me, I quit baseball. In my senior year, I quit baseball. And I told my coach, I said, hey, I hate to tell you this, but I'm not be playing this season because, of other things. And he was like, can you at least tell me why you don't want to play no more? I'm like, I'm going to be completely honest. I want to focus on my music. My music is, I feel like it's going to get me somewhere, and I feel a certain type of way about, what I'm doing right now, this very moment. I really just want to focus on that, because I already know that when I get out of high school, I'm probably not going to have baseball again. You feel me? I'm probably not going to have a lot of these things again, but this music I will always have with me no matter how old I get. So it was just a matter of, what did I want more? Did I want to, have fun, or did I want to get ready to, put myself in certain positions? And if I did, that requires sacrifices. And one of those sacrifices was giving up my senior year of baseball to pursue music. That entire baseball season, I just was at school making music, at home making music, outside making music, at work making music. When I was on my break, it turned into like you literally couldn't see me without my laptop for a good first 2-3 years of me making music. You couldn't see me without one. And so I was making doubts like, am I going to be able to move forward with this music now that I'm out of high school? I graduated high school. You know, I'm starting to do this, I'm starting to do that, you know, to make money ends meet. But to be honest, I don't want to do any of that to make ends meet. I'd rather just be able to pursue something and be able to, you know, have that with me for life. So it was like, yeah, I'm going to be able to take care of my business, but this music thing is going to be something I pursue. And, you know, whether I pass or fail will be, you know, that won't be my decision. You know, I can only work so hard, and if it's meant to be, it'll happen. So I just gotta work hard and do my thing. And here I am 6 years later after that moment. I am, you know, almost 8 years into making beats, you know, almost 10 years into making beats. So this is about year number 7 or 8 of me making beats in total. But I was, you know, in a place where I was like, I don't know about this. Now I'm in a place where I know that
this is you.
This is me.
This is your
you know,
path.
This was planned for me because of everything that's been happening from high school. I was able to get music placements and productions. I was able to get paid, you know, big amounts of money for my music. I was able to witness, you know, experiences of music that I never thought I would ever experience in my life. I got to be able to say that, hey, this person that makes music right here, I know that guy. I knew him as a kid. That guy right there, he's related to me. You know, that guy too, he's related to me. That guy here, yeah, I knew him before he was rich. And it's like kind of like a small flex, but I try not to, you know, over the years I've kind of gotten over like, you know, I'm my own person and they're their own person. I'm not really their protege. I'm making a name for myself, and I work for Story Stitchers, making music. Being able to help pay my bills with my music is just unspeakable. I'm at a loss for words to be able to have an opportunity in my life where I can say that without a doubt, me making music and me making the decision to make music seriously has changed my life. You know, it changed my entire life. I have no more doubts about what's going on because of everything that's continuing to happen. I'm starting to meet people with more stature, people with more power, and these are not accidents. You know, these are things that are happening on purpose because they keep happening again and again and again, and it happen more frequently. So now I'm fully like all in on like, yeah, this music is going to get me somewhere guaranteed. You know, it doesn't matter what somebody else says. They don't know what I've been through to get to this point right now. And so this song very much conveys the hope that was within me this entire time, knowing that, yeah, you have a chance to do some great things with music. You have a chance to make a difference with music. You have a chance to, you know, make an impact. Your music just won't be music that people just say, oh, that's pretty cool. It's going to be music that people say, that's amazing. I need that song. You know, it's those types of experience that I try to create for others. And so this song will be the first of many to come out as I am working on my own project as well. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm working on my first project. Basically, it's conveying the story of me and a lot that went on during the time that my friend passed and I first started making beats. So I have a lot of old beats that I happen to remake, and
this is just going to be a producer album?
It's a producer album, but it also has, you know, I'm having some lyrics. I'm going to have some poetry, you know, I have some skits. I want to make an experience, you know, just like To Pimp a Butterfly, because I don't
Let me
want
know
to.
about the poetry though.
Of course,
I remember
you know, I want to
This is
create
my
an
poetic
experience.
brother
yeah.
right here. That's my poetic brother. We performed yesterday actually.
Yeah, at the at Word Up. Shout out to Word Up,
man.
Yeah,
Shout
shout out to Word Up. Shout out to Energy. Our birthday was last night. Shout out to everybody at Word Up. Very lots of
Shout out to
talent there.
Confliction, man.
Shout out to Confliction, man. Very talented MC. Shout out to everybody within our. Shout out to Encore STL in general. They are just a very good, you know, corporate organization for putting these events together.
I be forgetting the Encore is the one that sets it up too, and I'm trying to get in touch with them because they do a lot of theater, and that's definitely going to help me in terms of doing plays, but also acting as well in front of the camera doing film. So that's like yeah, I'll get back to that. I want to get to what you were talking about, but yeah, bro, what you were talking about in the what hit me was the sacrificing of baseball, because I went through that same story. It wasn't in high school, it was in college.
Yeah.
And I recognized that I needed to sacrifice baseball. And it was a tough go around, because for the span of 2 years after I ended up quitting in 2021, was it 2021? No, it was 2020 I quit. Fall 2020 I quit. And from there, I had like this off and on relationship. You know, I wanted to play for the New York Yankees. Speaking of the Yankees, they're winning 3-0. Aaron Judge finally hit a home run. Let's go. We'll get back to that in a minute, Mr. But
I'm a Dodgers fan. So.
No, he's not. He's a Cardinals fan, but he's just cheering for the Dodgers because he doesn't want the Yankees to win. I'm not going to go on a rant. We can talk about it a different time. Back to what we were talking about. But just going on a break from baseball and having this off and on relationship, I learned the importance of sacrifices, and that you sacrifice something that you've loved and something that's been prominent in your life for so long. Like for me, it's been prominent since all my life, honestly, because I grew up in the baseball family, but I didn't start playing till 4th grade. And immediately I started picking up very, very quickly. And then the fall off happened very quickly as well. So it's just going through 2 years of just saying, you know what, baseball is not for me. And that was hard. But while going through that process of letting go of baseball, because it was a process, it wasn't an overnight thing.
It's like when you give up something like that, it's like you're losing.
Oh yeah,
it's
those
like you're
memories,
losing a sense and part of yourself in a manner, because it's like you're no longer this type of person, because you no longer get the same opportunities. Once you kind of sacrifice that, you kind of don't really get those same opportunities twice.
Exactly. I linked that to my identity so much. That was like so much of my personality went into what baseball was. And you know, that's all I've done. Like I've been an athlete all my life. So while giving up baseball, I had a bunch of these other avenues that were starting to resurface that I've always explored interest in ever since I was a kid, but I never really fully got into it because I was doing baseball, was doing basketball, and I considered myself an athlete, but never really knew anything about artistry. And becoming an artist, which if you're an athlete and you take it serious, like Kyrie Irving, like he describes himself as an artist rather than just an athlete. And I do understand that, but growing and recognizing that I did not treat baseball as the art form as it is, rather than just a sport, it put me in the position where I have to sacrifice baseball, and it's necessary. And through that sacrifice, through that process, I recognized that, I want to do film, or I want to do music, I want to do architecture, I want to do acting, modeling, I want to do more about fashion. And I started to uncover these parts of myself that have been lying dormant for years. And part of letting go of baseball was also mustering up the confidence and understanding the process of integrating some new art forms into my life, and art forms that I've been wanting to do ever since I was a kid, but with doing baseball and having school and a bunch of other things. And also, I had my head in my ass too. I was not making the best decisions, which we all go through it. I recognize that, man, I have an ear for music. I really do. And you heard the first beat I made. It was like,
that's a pretty good first beat. Cause like compared to my first beat, it was like, I wish I made that my first beat, like for real. But
shout out to SK for helping me out on that.
At the same time, it's like different experiences happen for a reason. So for you to make your first beat, it was like that. For me to make my first beat, it was different. I had a different experience. So everybody's first experience with music is very different when it comes to making their own. It's just a matter of practicing and creating your own sound that no one else can replicate.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting to, is that confidence of not only doing it once, but doing it again, getting back into the practice, and not necessarily trying to recreate that first beat. Even though that first beat isn't technically finished, which I still want to finish it and put it on the TG album. Of course. It also had my ideas flowing, like, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. But sometimes I get so caught up in the thinking and also just like, I don't want to create the same thing. How do I not create the same thing to the point where it's just like I'm stagnant and I'm not really moving in a direction? And I found a newfound confidence in myself in terms of every art form, especially speaking. And I'm so excited to see where this journey goes, especially with y'all. And also hearing your journey and knowing that it's been an 8-10 year process. I didn't know it was 8 to 10 year process for you, almost a decade for you.
Yeah,
and it's so dope. The
producer's journey is not a short one. It's a very long journey, to be honest. Like, to be able to learn how to construct art and compose art in a certain type of way is it's a long process, especially when you want to create your own sound. It makes it even more frivolous, and especially when you're open minded as well, because you have, I want to try this, I want to try this as well, I want to try this as well, I want to try this, and you have all these ideas that you're trying to be like, how can I fuse all of this into one sound? And it's like, maybe it's the instruments that you use, or maybe it's the drums that you use. For me, I think it's a mixture of both. Sometimes the drums do their part for me, and sometimes it's like the piano. Like, my piano has made me emotional at times. So it's like, I really played that song right there. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's been my issue, is that I've been kind of closed-minded. I've had I'm open-minded towards ideas, but I'm closed-minded of how to approach those ideas, because I come from a very masculine household, which masculine leans on analytical, logical mindset. And in terms of creativity, when we allow this feeling to come through, that's the exact opposite. It's kind of letting go of logic and analytical mindsets and allowing a feeling to come through and create through feeling.
It's not as simple as like, oh yeah, this is a system that you follow. Yeah. This is it's a spontaneous thing that happens.
And I think that's why I fell upon, and especially when I was learning music theory for a little bit, when I started learning piano with Malachi's Pop. Shout out to Malachi's Pop. That's my dog. Well, man. Shout out to Malachi too, man.
Shout out to Malachi, bro.
I don't know if he can hear me, but shout out to you, Malachi.
Yeah, shout out to bro.
I think in terms of, and this is what scares people too, as I learn to get deeper into music, is that sometimes we overemphasize learning music theory to the point where we forget how to freestyle, because it's important to learn music theory, but don't let that
become your story, because
or let you get caged in by that.
And sadly, a lot of musicians do that. They learn music theory in a certain type of way, and then they play, like, for instance, like jazz piano / gospel piano players. They're kind of stuck in that bubble to where whenever they play piano, it kind of sounds jazzy, or it kind of sounds, like you're gospel-y, like you're in church or something. versus, you know, an abstract jazz slash what's hip hop pianist. You're gonna get more abstract, you know, themes and cadences and stuff, because hip hop is a genre that links out to other genres like R&B and neo soul and those types of other types of feelings, because a lot of these other songs and genres, you know, use samples from hip hop, and they create, you know, soul music, they create R&B, they create feelings and emotions onto music using elements of hip hop, which is amazing, and I mess with it.
That's why I love Late Registration so much, because, and that popped up on my feed earlier. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The integration of like a full on orchestra with his music. And you can hear that that's so prevalent throughout the entire album. That's why it's my favorite Kanye album, because it mixes a lot of the elements that he used. Besides, you know, the 808s and heartbreaks type of Kanye that we know, this because this is beforehand, but this is the chop and soul Kanye, where he had those bars. Some of his most prevalent bars were back in the day. And also the element of adding the full on orchestra, adding those strings, adding those chords, adding those horns. And I love that. That's why I love Re Major so much, because even though it's one part of the orchestra looped along with sampled drums, man, it sounds so amazing. And then at the end too, where we go into the bridge, the third verse, where we get that whole breakdown. Oh my God, it's so I love We Major so much. The first time I ever heard We Major was on 2K13.
Same thing.
2K13. I heard that song. I was like, hold on.
We Major is definitely that song. It was a very abstract. So when I first heard it, I was like,
this is a hip hop record?
I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is Kanye. And so as I continue to listen to the song, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doubting this man ever again about anything, because
and that's his second album.
Yeah, certain sounds that you listen to is like, I don't know about this sound. And then it's just like you listen to it all the way through, like, yep, he was doing something, and now I understand why he made this song a certain type of way. It's kind of like, what's a good song for this example? Outkast. And Andre and that song. What is that song? Hey Y'all. It's a groovy song with a very personal message, and he's saying
it's like, a darker meaning than people think it is.
It is, and he's not only trying to convey that meaning in that story, but he's also trying to prove the people and the masses right. Like, when y'all listen to music, y'all don't listen to music. Y'all listen to the beats. Y'all listen to instrumentals.
It's
y'all
like
listen to melodies. You're not actually listening to the words that are coming out of these people's mouths.
It's like Swimming Pools with Kendrick. When you listen to that song, when that song first came out,
that song
it was a party song. You work out to it. It was in layup lines, like you're gonna hear at the basketball game.
Dark song.
Yeah, that song was like the gateway into his addiction with alcohol.
Sadly, that's like, I ain't gonna fake, I'm not gonna say sadly, but that was surprisingly the first song I ever heard by Kendrick Lamar, and I was alone when I heard it. And
that was
it was the first song I ever heard.
MTV was still showing music videos, and they played that music video. I was like, who is this?
I didn't even see the music video. Here's the thing, like, when it comes to artists like that, when it comes to music videos, I discovered Travis Scott before he became this version of Travis Scott. Travis Scott was a totally different type of person, totally different type of wave, style, everything, versus what we know today, Travis Scott. But
for sure.
Hearing Kendrick, I was in the car, bored, listening to Sirius XM while, my parents would pick it up to go order. I'm in the car. I'm glad that it took them extra long to get the order, because I'm in the car listening. I changed the station, first off. So I changed the radio station to listen to that radio station. And so I'm listening to it, and then like, we got this new song called Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar, and I heard this song. I'm like, this melody is very, very different.
Who produced that? Was it Soundwave?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
But that song, that
Shout out to
melody
Soundwave, underrated.
Shout out to a lot of these music producers that do it on their thing.
Underrated.
Very much.
Soundwave does not get talked about enough.
He doesn't, but you know, people will get their flowers eventually, and hopefully it's before they're gone. But like hearing that and then hearing like the pull up, dream, pass out, wake up, like I'm just like, it's a cycle.
I think on the album,
it's like everything he's doing, he feels like he needs to drink. You know, it's no matter what happens, he's like, oh yeah, I need a drink. I need a drink. I need a drink. I need a drink. And to me, it was like I never experienced nothing like that. Like even like I didn't have an idea what addiction was in my life at that time. I didn't really was never able to see forms of addiction until like after hearing that song and realizing that, oh, that's addiction. Me doing certain things in my life is addiction. I used to be like a crazy snack addict.
Because that was after he got jumped on the album. And the song before was Mad City. And if you listen to Good Kid, Mad City, they have the skits at the end of the songs. Whether it be his mama, whether it be the people that jumped him, or whether it be his homies. And off at the end of Mad City, the song, it was just like, you can't tell that Doc just got fucked up and everything. They were like, lay back and drink that. And then Swimming Pools comes on, and then it has that outro that isn't played on the radio, which is like a darker tone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Like all I got in life is mine. Do appetite for failure, and I got I know that part.
We didn't hear that on the radio, and when I downloaded that song, I heard that part. I was like, where did this come from? And then the outro was when his homie got shot, and then the song that played next was Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, which best song on the album in my opinion. Like,
that song is pretty good.
Very sad song still, but
that song is pretty good. And very what is it, The Art of Peer Pressure?
Yeah, The Art of Peer
I
Pressure.
love that song. That song is a very good song, and it tells a good story.
That album is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think Kendrick does not have a miss in his discography.
He doesn't, and a lot of people say he does, but that's because
he makes different type of music. Yeah, he makes different type of music. He's not making his most commercial album is Damn.
It's legit Damn.
And
it has
it's
the most
still
hits.
like a very it's an unbelievably conscious album.
It has between Damn and Good Kid, Mad City, because a lot of those songs are very on the radio, like Backseat Freestyle, Money Trees, Swimming Pools.
That's about it.
I want to say it's one more
and
song.
And Mad City too. Mad City. And then on Damn, you have DNA,
loyalty,
you have Humble,
love,
you have
Humble,
Loyalty.
DNA.
Yeah.
You have a lot of these songs that are very, and the fact that you can play that song forwards and backwards, like that whole record, forwards and backwards.
Fear is the best song on Damn, though, by the way.
Fear is a great song.
Unpopular opinion. The Alchemist beat on there. Yeah.
Yeah, Fear is a great song. I love Fear. I love Duckworth.
I got another question for you. Duckworth is crazy. Ninth Wonder's breakdown of that beat is insane.
Yeah,
if y'all have the time and y'all enjoy breakdowns of music, Ninth Wonder breaking down Duckworth on YouTube.
It's like Deconstructed or something on Genius.
Man, insane. I do have a question for you.
Of course.
Your Mount Rushmore of producers, which is 4.
Okay, so
that have impacted you. This is not like the objective top 4, because there's no such thing as an objective top 5 or top 10 list. As some people make it seem, music is so subjective, and there's so many different types and ways to approach music. So anybody that feels like they have an objective top 10 list, you're wrong.
Very much. So it's opinion based.
You're objectively wrong.
Yeah. So top 4 producers that have affected me in my life. Number 1 is TM88, because around the time that I first started making beats is what Lil Uzi came out with XO Tour Life. And listening, when I listened to that beat, it was like, It's like to create that type of emotion because it was if you watch it deconstructed, it was originally another beat and it sounded nothing like what it sounds like. It was a way slower beat, different vibe. The
music video to that is so weird.
Yeah, it's very much weird. But when I first heard that song, was listening to production, I'm just like,
yeah, that didn't even.
Yeah.
And I remember when that day. I remember the day when it came out. It was. I think this is my senior year, and it came out on the little mini pack that he dropped on SoundCloud, Love Is Rage 1.5.
Yeah.
He dropped 4 different songs.
And that song was one of them.
That song was one of them. It had him and The Weeknd on the cover. And we were on the way to Final Four for basketball for state. And he dropped that, and man, we were banging that. That YSL is so fire. YSL is so fire.
Yeah, so TM88 is definitely on my list. I used to watch a ton of his like live videos with him making beats all the time. It's one specific video that I have because like I had to screen record it because it got deleted everywhere. But there is a beat that he created that I don't know if it got created to a song or not. I think it may have, but wherever it is, this song didn't do well. But one thing I do know is that me hearing that beat, the way that I was able to watch him convey emotions into a beat was like mind blowing to me, because it was like you're making these fast and catchy beats while also displaying a strong emotion with these beats, with the melodies and everything, pianos, samples, singing, and whatever the case may be. You're displaying a strong message in your music, and it was like, wow, that's what's up. I had no idea. So he's number one. TM88. Number 2 would have to be Timbaland.
Oh yeah,
just because
man, he made so many hits.
It's so many different sounds.
So many hits, bro.
He never had it was never a beat that sounded like the same, and it was like
none at all.
It was like this sound different, this sound like this sound like that.
Because he worked with so many different artists that didn't sound the same. So Nelly Furtado, did I say her last name?
No, Furtado, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Furtado.
Nelly F.
Yeah, Nelly F. Not the Nelly. Shout out to
Nelly F. Shout out to Nelly.
Justin Timberlake, Missy Elliott. Like, he worked with so many people, and none of those people have the same type of sound.
No.
T.I. too as well. So it's just like, and the video popped up on my feed again today, is how Ye was talking about, I went to Swiss Beats, I went to Pharrell, I went to all these people to try to fix the track stronger so it doesn't sound muddy in the club, so it can compete with Sexy Back. And he ended up going to the guy that made Sexy Back, Timberland, to make the drums. He made it in 5 minutes, and then for the rest of the hour session, he said he just bragged about how nobody else could have done it better than him. And the drums on Stronger is exceptional. Stronger
is like a very great song. So it's like that. And Kanye is 3. Kanye is definitely 3 because it's so many songs that I've heard that I've just discovered, like, Kanye made that.
You put me on to a song, The People
by Common.
Man, bro, that beat is etheric.
Yes, because in the sample, it's, if you listen to the original sample song, the original sample song is
Gil Scott.
Gil Scott Heron. And I just started getting into him recently with sampling his music. And so I was like, whoa.
Did you watch the breakdown of that?
Yeah, I have. So it was like listening to that, seeing how that was chopped up into what you have in its 2 different parts to what seemed like to be the beginning part, and then it transitions into this different part. And it's like, how did you do that?
Man, bro, if y'all are very interested in breaking down music and learning how music is made, Deconstructed is good. But I go to Tracklib
Track
or
Lab
I
as
go
well.
to Songs and Samples.
Yeah.
And Songs and Samples puts out content on the regular compared to the other two, though. They put out they put out content every day.
They got sample breakdowns of Crumbacopia. It just came out.
Yeah,
days
I know.
ago. So it's like the day after, it's like, oh yeah, sample breakdown, song breakdown. The album just came out.
Yeah, I know.
Go over there.
I remember Track Lib was going crazy during the beef, and 616 literally dropped 20 minutes ago, and they dropped the breakdown. Also, unpopular opinion, 616 is the best sounding song.
Cause like me myself, when I get on my phone, first thing I do when I wake up and I get on my phone, first thing I'm do, I'm not checking Facebook, Instagram. I'm going to see if I got what my notifications are, and then I'm getting on YouTube because I get more reliable news and reliable content that I would prefer to see on YouTube than on social media, because I'll get on YouTube. What's one of the first videos popped up? A reaction to a new song, a breakdown on this, music news on why this person just dropped this album, this new song, breakdown on something. It's just different types of things.
It's engaging.
It's very engaging.
It's not mind numbing.
Yeah, for me, I find YouTube way more engaging than any other type of media. Like,
facts.
If you look at my phone,
OG YouTube is top tier.
If you look at my phone, you look up like time usage, it's like YouTube, like 30, 40 hours a week, like 50 hours a week almost, because I listen to a lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of informational videos, inspirational videos, vibrations, music, reactions, gaming sometimes, because sometimes I watch gaming to get an idea, because sometimes these gamers, I've got an idea from one of them. I was watching Berleezy. Shout out to Berleezy. I was watching a Berleezy video, and one of the songs were playing in the background of the game he was playing, and he was like vibing out and rapping to it. I'm just like, that's interesting. So I went and found a sample myself, and I kind of chopped it up a little bit and made it my own. It's like, yeah, I can see why he was rapping, because this song is very catchy.
What song again?
He was playing Bully. So it was a song he was playing on Bully. He was rapping. He was freestyling.
I've never played that game.
Oh yeah, I haven't. It's a very fun game. I have to let you play that game. It's a very good game. I haven't finished.
Rockstar made it, didn't he?
You know what's crazy? I've had that game for some years, and I haven't even completed all the way yet. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. It's a couple games I've had for years that I've like, oh yeah, I haven't beat it.
Is this similar open world to like GTA a little bit?
Yes, it's literally like GTA for kids. So instead of stealing cars, you steal like bicycles and BMXs and stuff. So, instead of shooting guns, you have slingshots, and
then you have Red Dead like
as well, eggs and firecrackers to throw at people, and
that's hilarious.
Chemical stink bombs you could create in class that you can throw at people. So it's literally like a kid's GTA, and the police are literally just like the prefects and teachers when they see you like fighting somebody or stealing something at school, or that type of stuff. It's literally like a kid's GTA in a manner. But however, I think that the dialect and tone and dialogue of the story is different from the gameplay, because it's actually an intriguing story. It's a couple of like adult jokes in there, but it's an intriguing story. It has some themes that are suggestive themes in there, but overall, it's a pretty good game, and it tells a pretty good story. I haven't finished the story myself, but I have seen like snips and bits of how it seems like it's going to end, and so it made me look at the game differently, because I was, looking at the game like, okay, this game is me being just a bully and bullying everybody for no reason. That's not the case. It's a different story, and the name definitely explains it itself. So I agree. It's a good game. You should play it sometime, but Braleezy was rapping on one of the songs, and I'm happy to hear it. So I downloaded the song from the game, and I sampled it a little bit because it was a very well constructed sample, and the tone of it was like, yeah, I need that tone. Just some different drums on there, and maybe speed it up or slow it down, maybe chop it up a little bit and make it sound different. Make it sound like it's my own sound instead of making it sound like it just came straight from the game. So it's been ideas from YouTube that have gave me my inspiration to create good music.
Nice.
So
nice.
shout out to YouTube.
Yeah, no, we were talking about it with how Sonic the Hedgehog has some of the best theme music, some of the best soundtracks.
Sega in general has.
Yeah, Sega snapped. And also, and I don't know if you knew this, but uncredited, one of the big prominent producers for Sonic 3, and I think Sonic and Knuckles, which they're basically damn near the same
They're
game.
basically the same game.
Was the Michael Jackson himself.
Yeah, I know that because you can hear a lot of the similarities in the Michael Jackson music.
With Blood on the Dance Floor and History.
Yeah, and then you can kind of see like the plagiarism go on in different games with Sega because other bands started being copied, other groups started being copied with their music, and it was like, whoa. And like I learned this recently. It was an old game I used to play on PlayStation called Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Not Budokai Tenkaichi, Budokai 3 though.
I know what you're talking about.
So it was a lot of plagiarism in that game with the soundtrack. And so when they put out a remake, they completely changed the entire soundtrack from later game songs, and they put them into the older games, and it was like, yeah, you're playing the older game, but you're not listening to the older music. And it was like clear to see because of plagiarism. When you put it next to each other, the songs sound pretty much identical. It's no miss. It's like, oh yeah, maybe maybe it just sounds similar. No, this is this song. No, for sure. Transitions and everything. So it's certain things and games that I've gotten ideas from, but it's these ideas come from regular musicians. So music is literally everywhere. Gaming, TV, storytelling, everywhere you go, you can literally never escape music. So that's how it is.
Yes. Before we go deeper on that point, because I definitely have a point with that, what's number 4 for you? So you said,
okay, so I have TM88, I have Timbaland, I have Kanye.
Goodness. John Carlos Stanton, our Lord and Savior, he just homered again. Let's go. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
goodness.
I just had to, man, bro. What a guy. What a guy. What a guy John Carlos Stanton is.
If I'm going to say number 4 is going to be Chase the Money, which is kind of a newer producer, but
I never heard.
Due to me knowing who he was before he acquired the fame and fortune and the blessings that he very much worked hard for to get his status, but I grew around Chase the Money, so when his career first started taking off, I kind of supported it because my family members supported him, so I supported him too. So when he first started putting out music and producing for certain artists, I would get in touch with these artists and just support him because he had this sound. And my sound kind of is, you can kind of tell that my sound kind of reflects that. Oh yeah, I used to listen to a lot of Chase the Money because of my hi-hats, and I do a lot of fast songs with hi-hats, and back then Chase the Money and hi-hats was like, yeah, nobody was messing with those chops. So Chase the Money, because he put me onto new music, and he was one of the first producers that I knew that I was like kind of like fanboying of, like, oh my god, I know this guy, like I used to know this guy. So this is before like anybody else I knew, like family members and stuff of that nature. So shout out to Chase the Money from St. Louis, Missouri as well. So very well produced for Twista, produced for J. Cole and J.I.D. The what was that? Off These. That's his song. He got a song with Don Toliver and Offset. It's a new song. This is it. It's on the radio. So
TM88.
Yeah, Timberland, Ye, and Chase the Money.
Okay, nice.
That's my Rushmore producers. Considering that,
I said like all producers. So
yeah,
like this
those
is
are
okay.
Those are the producers that inspired me the most. I mean, because every producer is great in their own manner, but when it comes to influence and making me want to make my own sound or pursuing me to try different things, these are the producers that inspire me to be like, I should do this. This is different. I should try this because this is different. Don't sound like this, and ain't nobody copying that. So it was these people are the people that are, a part of who Leek Hunchoo is as a music producer.
For sure. I say for me, Quincy Jones.
Ooh.
Quincy Jones for sure, because Michael Jackson records, especially his big three when it comes to Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad.
Yeah.
It just like
Chris
productionally it just sounds.
He's a great writer.
Man.
He's an amazing writer.
Yeah, bro. Amazing production. I mean, Michael had co-production with that as well, but Quincy is just, he's a Mongol. Quincy's a Mongol, man.
I believe he wrote the theme song for Austin Powers as well.
It doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Either he did or they made like a spoof or joke, because like I believe it's the third movie, Goldmember. You see Quincy Jones in the intro, orchestrating orchestra band to do the Austin Powers theme song in a dramatic type of theme.
Well, I haven't watched that in a minute.
Yeah,
the first one.
Just a third one. It's called Goldmember.
Oh yeah, I've seen Goldmember.
Yeah, with Beyonce. Like, so in the beginning of the movie, I see him,
Faja,
over here conducting the band, and it's just like, everybody give it up for Quincy Jones. And, you just see him like making a dramatic version of the theme song. So Quincy Jones, I can agree.
Yay, Quincy.
He's a pretty good
Dilla.
artist. Jay Dilla.
Man.
I wanted to say that name, but
his life ended so abruptly. I just got Donuts. Donuts is my latest pickup, and I love Donuts, bro. I can listen to Donuts all day, man.
That sounds amazing.
Oh my God.
Jay Dilla was he was a talent that we lost too fast.
He was only 31, 32 years old.
It's one of those talents that made me think, what if he was still here today? How would music look today? Man. Would Kanye still even be like as big as a thing if Jay Dilla was still in the picture?
Oh, for sure. Because Jay Dilla and Ye, they don't sound the same at all.
Oh yeah,
Jay Dilla is so like out of this world in terms of like
cutting and chopping.
Yeah,
he's
cutting
different.
And chopping, like it's just insane. And
the
then
drum samples as well. It's like, man, like the drum samples that she's be using.
His drums are insane.
Oh yeah, drums are crazy. So shout out to Jay Dilla. So I know who's number 4.
I don't know. Number four is a toss up, man. Number 4 could go to the likes of Pharrell. It can go to the likes of Q-Tip. It can go towards who else, man? I'm trying to think. I bet. I don't know. Number 4. I'm gonna have to ponder on that. Tyler's in that conversation now.
Yeah, Tyler's definitely.
Tyler's getting in that conversation.
He's been in that conversation for a while. I'm not gonna lie. He's been in that conversation since Flower Boy. He's been in that conversation.
Especially Igor.
Forget about it.
Yeah, Igor, production wise, is phenomenal. Like not many albums like that.
And then being able to get the help from Charlie Wilson, dude.
Prince too. Prince is up there as well because he played every instrument.
He did play.
He played every single part with whatever he had to do. Like he was the epitome of a garage band. Like,
very much
played every single instrument. Then he actually got his band, and like he still was involved with the revolution so heavily in terms of that production.
Prince is very talented.
Slept on still.
Would you say 4 is kind of like in the middle? It's like he's still in the air towards number 4.
Yeah, there's number 4 can go to a lot of people. Like I said, Q-Tip, Pharrell, Timberland is still up there, of course. Prince. I'm trying to think, but I know for a fact number 1 through 3 is a lot. Ye, Jay Dilla, Quincy Jones. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to think. I feel like there's one slipping my mind right now. I don't know how, but
it's all right. Well, you have Stevie and names like that. And such.
Swiss Beats is
Swiss
a good one too. He won't be in my top 4, but Swiss Beats, shout out to him.
Yeah, he's
underrated.
like my top 20. He's not really my top 10. He's not really my type of sound, honestly.
Yeah. For sure.
But no disrespect towards him, but me, myself, that's just not my sound. So, hey.
Metro too, homegrown. Like Metro's up there.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Metro.
I think his best piece of work in terms of production, this may be a hot take, but Without Warning.
Without Warning was great production.
Man, the darker tones of it. Oh my God, man!
I think like a very overlooked project by Metro is Double or Nothing with him and Big Sean, and that's because Big Sean gets overlooked. But I remember when that project came out, when I first listened to it, I was excited, and
that was 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had a concert. I ended up going to that concert. It was amazing. And I ended up getting it. I was like, go Metro. And then it was like, Metro Boomin has a concert. Cool. I wish I could go. You can. It's free. How so? Did you buy the album? I sure did. Well, guess what? You're going to a concert for free because you bought an album.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to Metro Boomin, and all of that.
Homegrown superstar. Homegrown superstar.
Homegrown superstar.
We have to admit, though, he did get killed by Drake, though.
I hate that for him. So, he did get bodied.
But, I mean, he's just a producer, so, I mean, he couldn't do it.
These things
he did make a parody. He did make the parody of the year with BBL Drizzy, though.
He did, didn't he?
He did make the parody of the year. But, that 4, I can't really, I have to think on that. 4 can just be a toss up to anybody, but those three for sure are locked in. Let's take a break from music. We talked about music for an hour 30 minutes, which it doesn't feel like it was an hour 30 minutes, but that's what happens when we talk about music, man. Music just takes you to a different place. I want to touch more on your African spirituality because here at Mind is Mine, it's all about elevated states of consciousness. It's about not only informing but educating people about spirituality and getting people more in tune with their spirituality, and just going through and learning through conversation, learning through my own experiences, but also the experiences of the guest I have on. And you have a very abstract and also unconventional way of spirituality that a lot of people don't talk about, and it ties to the greater overall African spirituality. It's your Nigerian spirituality. What's the actual term for it?
So the actual term for it is known as Ifa, it's two in the same. So it originated as Nigerian spirituality. It's known as Ifa, and due to the slave trade, it traveled to the South Americas, into like Cuba and stuff. So around slavery days, they would hide their religion underneath Christianity, and they called it Santeria. So they would be doing similar actions to, original African spirituality. But it's differences between, their religion and our religion. It's just so different. It's like, for me, I practice traditional Nigerian form, which is known as Isheshe, versus the Cuban form, which is Look at Me, which is kind of funny because I'm both Nigerian and Cuban, so it's just like I could do both, but I learned the traditional ways of Isheshe at first, and it has an emphasis on balance and character and entities in the world, meaning that, we were all brought here to do one thing. The one most important lessons to learn when it comes to Ifa is that when we are given our destinies in heaven, when we are born, we become impatient, meaning that when we are in heaven, we already have our destinies already lined out for us. When we are born and brought to earth, we become impatient because we want to fulfill our destiny. And in order to fulfill our destiny, we need to be able to be patient and let experiences happen in order to build a certain type of character or a mindset or a physical body set or whatever the case may be in order to a certain point to happen, because no one ever wants to be unprepared for when life happens. So life has its own way of preparing us for things that we're already going to be going through. So
Can I speak on that for a minute?
of course.
That is gold, because the spiritual journey is all about patience, and it's all about letting go of the how to in your mind and succumbing and sacrificing to the how to of which God holds for you and what the divine holds for you, and you just being a vessel for those instructions,
Of course.
for those how to's that God is going to give you. And it's like you said with baseball, like we talked about with baseball, sacrificing that for something greater to come in. Yeah. I thought I was going to be in the MLB at a certain point for a while, and sacrificing that was very tough because I came to terms with, like, I'm nowhere close to that, and honestly, I don't think that's the path I want to fulfill. Sacrificing that automatically just showed me and gave me hints of, okay, this is your path. Follow the breadcrumbs. And throughout that path of figuring out my purpose and then inevitably figuring that out, there's always the in-betweens of, okay, I think I gotta go this way, or I think I gotta go this way, and you're not allowing the divine to guide you. Rather, you're having your own map.
Yeah.
And you're mapping something that is completely unknown to you, and it's going to constantly put you in a state of uncomfort. And there's necessary uncomfort, and then there's unnecessary uncomfort. The unnecessary uncomfort is when you try to take control of life all the time and not allow the current and the flow of life to flow through you and happen for you rather than just happening to you. The positive uncomfort is when you let go and God puts you in the positions to grow. Yes. And puts you in the positions to be a better person.
Always.
And you don't know what that looks like, but you have to surrender to that.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that is trauma. Trauma has a big part in playing in our experience, because some people think that we experience trauma for no reason. No, we experience trauma for reasons, whether that be to learn something, for you to become stronger, for you to notice something, to use to see the signs, whatever the case may be, for you to, be aware, because you may be preventing something in the future. So, like, different traumas for different people. You feel what I'm saying? Me and myself, I have my own trauma that I went through, and I mean, for me to see how it's affected me is it affects the way that I am. Like, I'm very gentleman-like towards women, but over the years of trauma and things that I've been going through, it kind of like makes me look at relationships kind of differently. And I've found myself being kind of like a strict person with all these types of standards. And it's like, why am I holding people to these types of standards knowing that I'm not perfect? But it's only because I know that where I want to be in my life, and I know my end goal. I know how I'm traveling, where I'm traveling. It's just a matter of, how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Because it's not an if, it's just a when. It's a matter of when and those types of things. So my perspective has been changed due to trauma, and trauma really builds character, because trauma builds
suffering, builds character.
Yes, suffering builds character, because you find a vulnerable part of yourself when you're going through a lot, and that vulnerable part is let out. When it's let out, is able to communicate better than yourself when you're trying to close stuff in and trying to hide certain stuff. You want to be open, but sometimes we all hide stuff instead of being completely open and vulnerable with more than one another. So it's just a matter of what do you take from each experience, because each experience is not the same, and sometimes some experience happens again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
To test to see if you've learned, are you learning your lesson? Because
sometimes you need to go through
not.
that over and over and over again. Sometimes, sometimes it's beneficial to be thick-skulled.
Yeah, very much. It's very beneficial.
Yeah. But suffering, like you said, suffering does build character. Suffering reminds us of our mortality. And while we're in the human experience, we have to accept that mortality. The longer that we go denying it, the more suffering we start to endure, because we think we're greater than this creation and then bigger than this experience, which in a way we are, but we can't act like we're immortal, because we're not. This body is just simply
nobody is perfect.
Yeah,
it's a
temporary
experience. It's the human experience. It's experience. You're experiencing something for yourself. Nobody experiences the same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody.
We have similarities, but at the end of the day, our path is completely different.
Always.
Our paths intertwine at times.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I am not walking the same path as you are. Even if since we're part of Truly Gifted, the way that we express Truly Gifted and how we go about playing our parts within Truly Gifted, even though we could be making music, we're not making the same music. No. The type of beats that you make are not the type of beats that I want to make. And that's why we're part of this group, because we're diversifying.
Yes, it's no one that is the same as different artists, from the rappers to the producers. If anybody is similar in kind of production, it's maybe Blue and SK, but even SK has his own signature style. That Blue has his own signature style, and Keith has his own, John has his own, I have my own. You have your own. We have a lot of these members that have their own unique style, and it's based off of past and present and future.
Yeah.
What happened in your past? How does it affect you in your present? And, since that has happened in your past and is affecting your present, how will you let that affect your future? Will you ponder off of it as, oh yeah, this is something that's been bugging me, or will you grow off of it and build off of it and use it as something to help you grow? It's just a matter of, what will you do when life gives you lemons? It's very much that type of perspective. What are you going to do when life gives you lemons? It gives you this situation, How are you going to be able to handle it? And when you handle it, are you handling it the best way that you can? If not, be aware of that. That way, if it ever comes back, you can properly handle the situation.
We have to embrace our imperfection, because we were made perfectly for that. We were made perfectly to be imperfect beings, so we can grow.
We are perfectly imperfect.
Exactly. And what's life without a lesson? What's life without this experience? Because if we came into this life in the full state of perfection that we think that we can be,
everything will be completely equal, and there would be like no type of diversity.
It will be a cakewalk. Everything will be a cakewalk.
No diversity. Everything's pretty much the same. Everybody thinks the same opinion, same this, same that, and it just doesn't work with this type of world that we live in now. It's no one wants to properly be the same as one another. We have people that are following trends, but no one wants to be the same as one person. They're all trying to be different. Like, oh, I'm not that person, I'm different because of this. So people are very, they're making emphasis on being different, which I love that, because we need people that embrace being different and being more than just a regular person. We will need people that are comfortable with expressing their true nature, with being vulnerable with us, because those are the people that are the best artists. We have people like Kendrick and Tyler here on the table. They are great artists because they know how to channel their vulnerability and put it in the music and explain it in a way that doesn't give away too much, but it gives away just enough for you to understand.
Yes, and that's a balance that I've been learning, is the balance between independent and dependent, and not being so dependent upon the path and wanting to be the same as other people, but not leaning so far into independence. You push yourself away from the collective that you need to be molding and growing with.
Of course.
And you need to find that middle, which is interdependent. you can function on your own, but when you're around people, you know how to function with those people.
Yes.
And you know how to relate with people, but at the same time, you walk your own path. So it's a perfect balance.
It's like our friend Trey Don. He is a person that rolls with us, but
Who?
Trey Don.
Shout out to Trey Don. Trey Don inspires. I had him on the podcast.
Trey Don inspires, but
actually, no, to be technical, Trey Don is the first one I had on TG.
oh well, hey, shout out Trey Don. I guess I'm the first producer.
The first producer, yes.
First producer from TG on the podcast.
Trey Don is the Neo Mystic.
Yeah, so shout out Trey Don, but Trey Don is himself authentically 24/7, so he can fit in with us.
Toes out, all that,
looking different than all of us. You feel me? I'm talking about man will look like straight out of Aladdin movie, still fit in with us. It's crazy because it's like we be dressed up, fresh to death, super death fly. Like we finna go to the club and he got Trey Don, dressed like he finna go to Dubai.
He don't care, and I love that. He
doesn't care, and I love that because he's able to embrace himself as this is who I am, this is what I wear, and this because it tells my story.
We crack jokes, but it's our place of love, and he understands.
Like I'm different, and I love myself, and I know that I'm different, and you guys know that I'm different, but you guys think it's funny. And I'm like, it is kind of funny because you're different, and he laughed at me. Different.
He laughed at me a couple of times for my differences. I'm like, hey, I don't take offense to that. I know I'm different.
Same thing. Like he's laughed at me as well. So just like you're my friend, I'm your friend. We have differences, and no one's gonna be the same. But he's able to fit in a way because he's authentic, and we are authentic as a group, as a unit. So be able to be an authentic unit and have someone like that in our group, it's perfect because he doesn't have to put on a persona. He don't have to pretend. He ain't got to fake. He's himself.
That's fact.
24/7.
That's fact.
So shout out to him, bro.
That's the beauty about spirituality, is just coming to terms with that balance and learning to, like I said, that interdependentness, learning to be dependent upon, learning how to be dependent upon the collective when it's time to, and bringing that vulnerability on the collective mindset, and understanding that, okay, on certain tasks and on the path that we're on to bring about a new earth, that's a collective journey.
Of course.
But also it takes our independent work, our personal work, for us to mesh well with the collective so we can get our collective work going as well. Always. So both sides are equally important. So we need to find that balance and that harmony. They both have
to work together. You mind if I stretch, man?
I mean, go ahead. Bro. Yeah, go ahead. Warrior pose. You guys can't really see him, but he's stretching as of now. You got to get the body moving. You got to. Let's applaud this man.
Let's applaud stretching.
Let's applaud this man.
So stretching is very vital. Stretch before you work out. You won't get injured. Trust me.
Yes, you have to stretch. The one problem I have is my hips. I have to stretch my hips a little more. I gotta get them things moving. You feel me? I gotta move my hips. For
me, it's my shoulders. Sometimes,
I got salsa.
My shoulder kind of pops sometimes, so I have to definitely work out my arms.
He got popping shoulder.
Yeah,
his shoulder be popping.
Yeah, my shoulder be.
His shoulder be popping out.
Bit,
His shoulder be popping out and showing niggas.
Shoulder be popping just a little bit. You feel me? So. Oh man.
But, yeah, no.
Both parts of being able to, self and spirituality, they are both complacent within each other. So one of the things that I tried to do when I first got into it was, what are my flaws? What am I imperfect in? Is it something I need to change? Is it something that I just need to accept?
What are certain practice? Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
What are certain practices, disciplines, and rituals that you go through? Because you talked to me about certain rituals that you go through to help enhance. And anybody, first of all, I got a bone to pick with some people. When they hear the word ritual, they're like, riches. I'm like, sir, a ritual, all it is a rite of passage. When you walk the stage after graduating high school, that's a ritual. It's a rite of passage.
It's sacred.
That's all it is. So
these
literally,
things are sacred. People look at them like they're very evil, important. But it's like these things are sacred, and it's like sometimes speaking on something like that in negative ways can kind of block your blessing as well. Because you never know. It could be somebody praying for you, in that type of manner,
Parties and
to help
celebrations.
you out. And you're talking negatively about it, you could be missing out on blessings. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of character. As far as discipline, it's like every morning pray. Every 4 days we pray to, a certain divinity on a day called Oshe Ifa. This day is a day where we give one specific entity, his respect, because, all entities and deities in the religion that I practice, they have their own days in which we should give them honor and homage. And some people share days with others, and some have their own days. So, it's just a matter of, knowing when, getting up on time, getting up early. Every 17 days, it's a ritual to, cleanse the house, to do a reading to show us, what's coming up in the future, what foreholds us, and what's coming up next, these types of things. And we try to just basically say that, help us navigate through these times. If there's tough times, help us navigate. If they're good times, let us reap all the benefits that we sown from all the hard work that we put in, all the honor and homage that we give to ancestors and just the people in general, keeping our character in check, being able to,
So I'm
always,
book.
just to always be able to carry yourself in Iwa Poile, which means good character. Iwa Poile, always carry yourself in good character and good spirits, and just do your part. Sometimes there's no need for malice because the universe works in ways. So it's just a matter of paying attention. Yeah.
You know about this book? Or
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
pertaining to like what you?
Yes.
So the book is
Orisha.
called Finding Soul on the Path of
Orisha. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Orisha are the deities that represent the earth, wind, water, fire, oceans, rivers, grass, rocks, stones.
So it's kind of like
metal.
So it's kind of like
Like a
the hermetic-
representation.
it's kind of like the different parts that go into
The different
Merkaba.
The
So
deities,
the art,
yeah.
not
Well,
like,
the deities represent like entities of the world, meaning like some people have more control over everything. Like the main divinity that people talk about is Eshu or Yeshu. He is the divinity that should always be given homage first. He basically is the owner of the crossroads, and nothing, no blessings, anything you ask for can get through without praying to him and honoring him first, because he literally he can just be like, you know what, you asked for all these blessings, but you ain't give me nothing, so nothing's gonna happen.
I have a question. So when it comes to these deities, which many different cultures have multiple deities, Egypt, Greece, even Hinduism as well.
Yeah.
The purpose behind those deities is that essentially they're the lowercase g's, but different personalities and different attributes and expressions of the uppercase G.
Yes. Like,
would you say that's the same?
Yes. Like, for example, like an example of this is there's an entity known as Shango. Shango is like a fierce warrior. He is known for his control of thunder and fire, but he was given these gifts, but he represents masculinity, you feel me? He represents that fiery, bold masculinity. When you see people of Shango, you see people who they dress sharp. When they go out every time, they dressing sharp. It don't matter. They go be going to the corner store. Man, be drip or drown at a corner store. It doesn't matter who this person is. You feel me? Very bold, very passionate, very strong, and fiery emotions.
When the feds are watching.
Yeah, so those things are like that. And then you have feminine attributes from a deity known as Oshun. Like, a lot of people know about that deity a lot. So Oshun is a deity. She's a very feminine deity. There's a story that goes with it, but basically the story just goes that she had this feminine energy and she carried it with her. And when it came to build the earth, she had a role, which was to be done with the tools that she had. And the tools that she had was a comb, a mirror, a pot of honey, and something else, and like a golden bell. And it was just like, what are you going to do with that? You're going to help us build the earth like this? We don't need you. And so deities casted her out, and they just did their job without her, and they noticed how they would do their work, but everything would just keep on being destroyed and collapsing, and everything was just going bad. And they were told, like, hey, you came to Earth, I gave y'all all a job to work together, and y'all not all working together. Y'all are working against each other and casting people out because you don't feel like they're as important. So they went to go find her. They found her in a forest in a beautiful oasis just in the middle, and they begged and pleaded her to help. She saved the world. She helped save the world. They bled and pleaded her like, we need you. We didn't understand your role, but now we do because you were able to create divine beauty that lasts. We able to find you here and this on our earth where it's deserted and barren wasteland, and you are the only source of beauty. Now we understand why we need you, because she provides that feminine source of beauty that is organic. It's that very strong and soft energy, and a lot of that energy goes with like being hurt. You know, a lot of women that have been hurt in their past, trauma with relationships, and kind of carry that with them, kind of soft, you know, people that wear their heart on their sleeve. You know, when they fall in love fast. When they get broken up, it's like hell. It's one of those things. So these types of energies, they kind of go hand in hand. You have different energies for sickness, for, you know, for being able to cut down obstacles in your path. You have as many deities that have their own roles to do, and so whenever you run into certain things in your life, you go into these specific deities and they fix things for you because that's their job. You know, they're supposed to be able to help you out versus others. So you can't just go to one specific deity to solve all your problems. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, one deity I connect with a lot is in the Egypt culture. Osiris, the god the god of death, life, and rebirth. And it connects and correlates so well with Buddhism and the cycle of samsara, which is the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and how if we don't go beyond our karma, we're stuck in this cycle, the cycle of incarnation. When the journey, when the human experience is only a journey to return home, we're not meant to get stuck into the human experience.
No, we're supposed to be here to complete our task, and then we're supposed to be going back up to heaven until our energy is called back down to complete a task that needs to be done again. So,
that's a question I had to you.
Yeah.
Is heaven a place, or is it a mindset for you?
Is
it a state of being?
For me, heaven is both a place and a mindset, because, I mean, I do believe that after, you know, we were sitting here, energy is real, but energy doesn't disappear. Energy is, you know, just transferred.
It's not created nor destroyed.
Yeah, it's just transferred. So once the energy is there, it's there. So when the energy leaves a vessel, that energy is still around. So that energy doesn't have to control a vessel. That energy is around waiting to either be reincarnated to complete another task that needs to be done or something else. So it's basically, for me, heaven is that, a real place. But as far as mindset, I believe that heaven is the place that you get to once you go through and experience hell in your life. You have to go through tough times sometimes and experience, you know, sacrifice and things that may seem like hell to you, the things that you never want to happen, or to realize that you are blessed and everything that you just went through was building you up to gain the success and be able to handle it. Because if you never went through certain experience, you might not be able to handle a certain level of success when you get to a certain age.
Facts.
Or to a certain status, you know, not even a certain age, a certain status in your life. You're not going to be able to handle that if, you know, you're not prepared for that. So, yeah.
And that's so funny you bring that up, because I used to think down on myself for starting this journey so late, but at least what I thought it was like. Then when I started connecting with a bunch of people, especially people that are older than me, they looked at me like, man, you're very wise and you're very in tune for your age. It's like, I wish I was in tune.
Like, I get that a lot. A lot of people are just like, oh yeah, bro, you have wisdom. You carry wisdom with you. So it's like, yeah, I try to. My father has even said this. I'm like, you carry wisdom with you, son. So, I like to carry that wisdom and use it when needed. I don't try to abuse it and try to tell people how to live their life, which I've done in the past. I try to be like, this is how you should live your life. And the thing is about that is certain people have to experience different things in order to get to where they need to be in their life. And sometimes us helping, we don't do nothing but interfere and get in their way.
It's the analogy of a king solving all the problems in his neighborhood, in his kingdom. Yeah, and then going to a neighboring kingdom saying like, all right, I fixed my problems here. This is what y'all need to do. He hasn't even talked to anybody, hasn't met anybody, hasn't gotten any type of feedback from anybody that lives in that kingdom. He just comes in and tries to change things because it worked in his town. Of course. That's not how it works. No, that's tyranny at the end of the day. That's how tyranny starts.
It's not righteous.
Yeah, it's not righteous whatsoever. Because you are not above that wisdom. You gotta understand that wisdom came from somewhere else.
Yes.
It came from a certain perspective that you have not only for yourself and what you've been through, but allowing a certain channel to work through you and be like, hey, this is a different source of guidance rather than my mind, rather than what my brain is thinking. I'm being guided by something else that's working through my heart and every ounce and every fiber of my being. And that cannot come from the ego. The ego does not operate.
No, the ego will withhold you, and it kind of holds you back because
it's a box.
With the ego, you have this box around you. It's like, this is life.
It can only survive in that box.
And so it's like, I have certain friends that are in a box like that with their egos. Like, oh yeah, I'm playing this game. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm playing this game right now. It's like, why are you playing that weird stuff? Weird stuff is a good story. It's a great story. It tells a real life story. It's very intriguing, and it's not just anything. What are you playing? I'm just playing 2K and Call of Duty. It's kind of like how can you tell me about me when you do something like that? So, I have friends that are stuck within that egotistical box, and they're just stuck there. And it's like, I try to do whatever I can, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to make that choice and that step to be like, hey, I can do this. I'm an open-minded individual. I'm more than just this, and this. I have more to offer. I am a opportunistic individual that sees these open ideas and will at least try them rather than just anything else.
Yeah, and also to piggyback off that and take it a step further, when you're becoming an artist and becoming a creator, if you are still stuck in that box, that's when you start making music just for money. That's when you start making music or making art just for the attention of it. And the substance of that art just loses all its flavor, and it doesn't connect with the collective as powerful as it could, as it should, because you lost that flavor. You lost that spice that really brings the taste into
Sadly,
what you work on.
That's like most of producers today. They just kind of lazy with it. Get a loop pack of drums and get a loop pack of sounds and just put together and just make the same pattern play over and over and over again. And they like, oh yeah, I made that song. That's a lot of work. And a lot of people get paid for that, but it's not real music. And you can just tell by the vibe and the aura and energies. Like, this is not real music. This is some bull.
Yep. Exactly. Not gonna lie, man. We just flowed for 2 hours. 2 hours, and I just looked at the time. I'm getting close to my bedtime, man.
Same, man. I'm feeling it all on my neck here. I know they looking at this like, man, this guy he's grabbing his neck and stretching his neck all tight with stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So,
yeah, man. We didn't get to every single topic. Still trying to figure out a good schedule because I changed jobs and everything. So still trying to figure that out. But cool. Definitely a part 2 to come. There will be a part 2. There will be a part 2 with Trey Don as well. He's been asking about it, but I just wanted to make sure I get everybody from TG on before I start doing part 2s.
Of course. Try to get them on at least one time.
Yeah, for sure.
Go through the whole line. So can't wait to see who's on here next. But I just want to say it was great for you having me on this part 1 of our podcast. For everybody out there, my name is Leek Hunchoo, or Leek Hunchoo on the beat. You can find me on Instagram at leek.hunchoo. That's 2 O's. You can find me on all streaming platforms with my new song "Stand for Something" on Apple Music, Spotify, and all other platforms that you listen to music on. You can go ahead and get your listen on that. I appreciate all the love and concerns. If you ever want to get in touch with me about opportunities, about music and making beats, feel free to DM me, and we can talk more business. I take music seriously, so if you're a person that takes music seriously, we could definitely work together. So I'm looking forward to that, and I want to thank you, my great host Houston, for having me on here. Give it up for Houston one time.
Hey,
Houston deserves an applause as well.
I get a sound pad.
Shout out to the Mine is Mine podcast. So shout out, and I enjoy myself, be able to express myself within words. So yeah.
For sure, man. That's why I brought you on here. You're a very talented individual. What we're doing with Truly Gifted is going to be very special. Yes. If anything, we're still in the infancy.
Yes, we're still in the beginning stage.
We only have one single. We only have one single out, and it's only been
we barely just getting started. You feel me? We getting ready to open the door. We ain't even walked through the door yet.
Yeah, for sure.
Me? So we got a foot in and we pushing the door open. So that's what we doing right now. So more to come from Truly Gifted Co. More to come from the Mine is My podcast, and more to come from me, Leek Hunchoo, the producer. So, shout out to all of that. And anything else, bro?
Honestly, you know how we do it. We do the outro. So Mine is Mine is a platform, is a vessel to help elevate consciousness worldwide, whether if it's talking about our love for art, our love for music, which art and music, one thing I've learned, and creativity in general, is such a beautiful vessel to bring about a new earth, to bring about new ideas, to bring about influence and inspiration towards everybody, especially the youth, especially the next generation, because this next generation is going through a lot of hardship. It's going to be a lot of trauma filled in terms of this next generation, but this next generation is going to be the future. The future, not only the future, but
we have to give them our support because they're going to be the ones that change the status quo in life.
They're the ones that are going to change a lot of things, and they're going to go through a lot of hardship. But through that hardship, the deeper the hardship, the brighter the goal, the more treasured that goal is.
Very much.
That's essentially what Mine is Mine is here to do, is help unlock that goal, to help unlock everything that we're going through, unlock just the spiritual gifts and wisdom that lies within every single one of us, whether that's through creativity, whether that's through education, or a simple conversation like this. So you heard the man Leek. You can find him on different platforms. You can find Truly Gifted on different platforms. You can find me on different platforms as well. But with that, we conclude episode 14. I hope y'all have a great rest of your night.
Have a good night, y'all.
Peace.